Hello YouTube. This week I've got the keys to a 2017 Ford Focus sedan, titanium. Let's take a look. This is the 2017 Ford Focus in sedan trim, so it does come in sedan or a hatchback. And this is the titanium trim, which is basically the fully loaded model, unless you count the ST and the RS performance models. This one is what you're going to get fully loaded. Leather seats. This one's actually loaded with a bunch of packages too, such as blind spot detection and lane departure warning. The blind spot also has the cross traffic alert, which is nice when you're backing out of parking spaces. I've said a lot of times the cars look really good in my videos. This one is kind of plain, I'll be honest. It's been the same design for a while now. Little tweaks here and there, but it's pretty plain sedan. I'd rather the hatchback. The hatchback is a little bit cooler to me. The trunk here is kind of small. Yeah, the trunk here is kind of small. I've got a Coleman cooler, and it didn't fit. It was like, it kind of fit. I kind of got it in a little bit, but most trunks I haven't had a problem to get that cooler, and it just slides right in. So this is a lot shorter than most sedans. Usually you've got at least another 2-3 inches at minimum. Length, depth-wise, it's not bad, but again, you can see it doesn't even go up at any point here, so it is pretty small. And then you've got the Sony upgraded stereo system in this one, and it's got the subwoofer here, so that's eating into a little bit of width as well. And it's not really carpeted or anything, it's just kind of plunked down there. So underneath here you've got your spare tire and some space down there. Now if you want to flip those 60-40 split seats down, you have to come onto the inside. There's no switches in the trunk, which is kind of annoying as well. Most cars now have those pull switches in the trunk. So that's your seat down. Again, this is an older design, and it doesn't fold flat, not even close. Like it's kind of flat here, but then it goes up. You can see it goes up on quite an angle. So that really reduces the amount that you can get in, because it's going to kind of come up on an angle, so you lose a lot of space there. Now the legroom, it's not horrible. We got to show you. There's a little cup holder here. Hop inside here. So the legroom, this is a small sedan, but it's not bad because they've sculpted out these seats. You've got almost 2-inch sculpting in here, which gives you a lot more legroom. You'd be really tight if it wasn't for that. And there are some map pockets in the back of the seats as well. There's not much else back here. Your feet do fit underneath the seat, and I've got this seat quite low. It can go up and down quite a bit, and I've got it almost at its lowest setting, I think. And my feet still fit easily underneath, so it's not too bad. The seats in the back are firm, and of course you got the little hump on there. There is a sunroof in this model. Again, I said it's fully loaded, and I forgot to say the price. It's almost $30,000, so it's about $29,000 with all the fees. This is your view of the front, and we'll go up front and take a closer look. So when you get inside, you're greeted with Ford logo on the infotainment system there, and this kind of lights up, and that comes alive. As I mentioned, so it's around $29,000. You do get a lot of features, and it's a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. And this one here, you've got the titanium. You can only get the automatic. You got a 6-speed automatic transmission. They call it a select shift automatic transmission. So you got a 12-volt adapter, or 12-volt power adapter there. You've got USB. and a heated steering wheel, which is nice to have in the winter especially, and parking sensors and the self-park mode. I did do a demonstration of the self-park mode in the Escape review that I did, so if you want to take a look at that video, I'll link it into this one. There's a quick demo of that. Now this one here will only do parallel parking. It won't do perpendicular parking like the Escape. The Escape had the two options. We've got a couple of cup holders here, and there is lighting in here. You can't really see it, but there is a little bit of lighting in there, and you can change the colors of that. And small armrests in the back with USB and a 12 volt. In the sync system here, this is no longer the Microsoft Sync. This is, I believe it's powered by QNX, QNX, however you say it. So, this is pretty responsive. I've shown this in my other videos. Both the Fusion and the Fusion and the Escape have the same system. It's fairly responsive. And it's got a ton of features in there, like as I just mentioned, the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto, which does work really well. I used the Android Auto on a trip recently, and basically can tell it anything I want. Message somebody with Hangouts, or send a text message, or call somebody, find me someplace to eat close by, and that works really well. It's really cool. And again, same as the other vehicles, you can change the colors of the lighting, the interior lighting in here. And it's got navigation. This one, it's got the navigation package, which bumps the price up a couple $1,000s. In your center display, not much has changed in a while for Ford here. You've got your speedometer and your tachometer in here, and your fuel gauge and temperature gauge. And you've got a little digital display up here which shows you your fuel economy, your trip, distance to empty, and that. You can also, there's a bunch of settings. Here you go. You can go to a bunch of settings and information in here as well. So you can flip through those. So in your settings, you can change. Go under driver assist. You can turn off the blind spot, cross traffic alert, driver alert, lane keep assist. And the traction control, it's all under here. And then under vehicle, auto, engine off, compass, chimes. Oh, neat. Actually, chimes is kind of cool. Park slot. Oh, that's the only one I could turn off. I want to turn off like the door chime whenever I have the door open, because it's freaking annoying. Anyways, and it does have remote start as well, which you can set the climate control settings for whenever, and the heated steering wheel to turn on, the defrost, and the driver's seat and passenger seat. So that's really neat that you can do all that kind of stuff in a compact car. I think it's priced pretty well for all the kind of features you're getting. It's $27,000. I priced it out on Ford's website, and then add in freight and PDI. Then you're going to add in taxes depending on where you are. So you're probably looking at around $33,000 out the door. And then, of course, Fords, usually you can get a discount on them pretty easily. So you could probably get this for around $30,000 out the door. On the steering wheel, you do have cruise control as well, on, off. And these are the buttons I was just using to flip through that screen. And you've got your volume control for the radio and your phone, as well as your modes to switch through radio stations and that on the steering wheel. Over on the left-hand side, you've got auto up and auto down, all four windows, and the power mirrors and door locks. And way down here, we've got a trunk release, automatic headlights, and the brightness control for the dash display. Up top, as mentioned, sunroof, and there is a sunglasses holder up here as well. It's a little bit small, but it'll hold a pair of glasses. Depending on how big your sunglasses are folded up, it might be a little bit tight, and it is a little flimsy, but don't pull on it, basically, I guess. The standard Ford sun visors, which I actually really like. These are really large, and then they pull out, which allows you to kind of block the sun if it's in your eyes, which is kind of nice. That's it for the interior. Let's take it for a drive. Well, it's not a rocket ship, but for a compact sedan in its class, Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla, Mazda 3, Chevy Cruze, it does well. 160 horsepower out of the 2-liter engine, 146 pound-feet of torque. It gets up to speed pretty quick, and the fuel economy, I'm averaging 7.3 liters per 100 kilometers, which I think is pretty darn good for this kind of car. Yeah, I think the fuel economy is well within its range of of its competitors at 7.3. I think it's pretty good. The one thing I didn't mention while I was sitting in the parking lot there was there's this little logo inside the dash with the car on it, and if you turn on the headlights, the tail lights and the headlights light up on here, which is really cool, and it shows you if you got your parking lights, this changes to your parking lights too. I think that's very informative to the driver, especially when they have auto headlights on, because they can be driving along and it's kind of rainy, but it's not dark, and then they look at that and say, oh, geez, my headlights and taillights aren't on. They should be on in the rain, so you can just, you can turn that dial and turn them on. In terms of how does it drive, it's kind of hard to describe, I guess, in this case. It drives well. It doesn't excite me in any way. It's not super fun to drive. It doesn't, bore me to tears. It's kind of average. It just kind of does its job, get you from A to B, and hopefully gets you there reliably. It's reasonably quiet, and for its class, it's not, it's not a Vault, but this isn't a $40,000 or $50,000 vehicle either, right? This is it starts at just over $20,000 for this vehicle, so, or even maybe just under. And this one fully loaded with the leather and the sunroof and all the electronic packages, you're looking at under 30 or around 30. So, for its class, I think it's reasonably quiet. The Mazda 3 is one of the noisier cars in the class, and this is definitely a lot quieter than that. And the Toyota Corolla apparently is one of the quieter ones in the class. And I haven't driven one in about a year, but I'd agree. I think this is probably a little bit noisier than the Corolla. My only complaint about driving this car, really, is the turning radius. So I find that a lot of the Fords, well, especially if they have all-wheel drive, but this is only a front-wheel drive vehicle, and I've driven a Focus before, and I've noticed this before, is the turning radius is really large. Like, you turn into a parking spot, and you turn the wheel, and you get to a point where you just want another quarter or an eighth of a turn to turn it, and the wheel just stops, and that's it. You've run out. And then you end up missing your parking spot. So I think, you're going to get used to that if you're driving this every day, but just be aware if you drive in tight locations, if you live downtown and you have a lot of tight parking that you're doing all the time, it might drive you crazy. So you might want to make sure when you take one for a test drive that you try parking it, see how you feel maneuvering the car and seeing how the sight lines are for you. I think the mirrors are nice and large and you can see a lot of things, so that's not too bad. And it's got the parking sensors, so that does help you park, and a great backup camera. But I just find it is a little bit, it doesn't turn as much, the steering wheel doesn't turn as much, which kind of messes you up sometimes. There you have it, 2017 Ford Focus sedan in titanium trim. I think it's a reasonable option in the sedan, compact sedan category. I don't think the titanium trim is probably your best option, but if you're looking for all of the features that it does provide a ton of features, a ton of technology for the price, I think. But if I'm looking to spend, if I don't get a discount, you're probably $33,000 on this car. You might be looking at a larger car or something a little bit more upscale. But if you can get it for under $30,000 on the road, it's not a bad car. It drives really well, and it doesn't look too bad. Although, kind of looks like a rental car. I think it needs another update. Anyways, thanks for watching. And please subscribe to my channel.